There's a new probation department commissioner, and she's familiar to many elected officials and community leaders. On Friday, Mayor Eric Adams announced NYPD Chief Juanita Holmes would be switching jobs. Holmes says after more than 35 years with the NYPD and working with the community, she's ready to help those serving time on probation.
I really feel my years of experience, as well as my experience with children, mentorship groups, youth programs, really qualifies me for this position, but more so because I'm passionate about it.
We are joined now by the president of the United Probation Officers Association, Dalvanie Powell. Thank you for joining us. Let's start here. Probation, so important in New York City. Describe what probation is, because a lot of people get confused about probation. That's people, they've actually been convicted of a crime.
Right. First of all, thank you for having me. Probation is the alternative to incarcerations. So I tell people to look out the window, and that's probation, without corrections without the bars. We serve men, women, and youth who've been sentenced, who've been convicted of a crime and sentenced to probation. We also do intakes, where we do assessments to determine if a person's a good fit for probation or they need to receive some other services. We do investigation reports, where we do a complete background of a person's background, determining their, we look at their social background, their criminal record, and their mental health, and then we make recommendations to the judge. And then we do community supervision.
So a lot of times we know a judge may say, okay, we're not going to send you to Rikers or upstate, we're going to put you on probation. Your job and the officer's job to go out and check up on those individuals. And the officers are armed, am I correct?
Some of our officers are armed, right. Some, it depends on the units that they're in. But they're sentenced and they're given a second chance to remain in the community to get the services that they require and need, yes.
And one of the things you'd mentioned to me is that you're actually helping to get guns off the street as well. Absolutely. I never thought about it in that way.
Yes.
How so?
Because we do consent. Once they're on probation and they're sentenced to us instead of going to jail, prison, or placement, once that's done, we have to go into those homes and we do consent to searches, depending on the conditions of their probation. If the conditions of probation requires for us to go into those homes and do that, absolutely. So we're not just taking them off the streets, we're taking them out the homes.
And one of the issues you also face, and we have a new probation commissioner taking over now.
Yes.
For many years, you've been fighting for more pay for probation officers. You're not happy with the pay and how probation officers are treated. Talk about that just a little bit.
We're undervalued, and we're very much undervalued, and we don't get the credit for the work that we do within the criminal justice system. When I became the president of the union, I did an assessment of our salaries, and I realized that we was never going to get paid like other law enforcement officers. They know after 5 years that they're definitely going to get paid a certain salary. We're considered to the city as civilians, which I do not understand. And now we're on this pay range. We're on the lower end of the pay range, and we never get to that top range.
Looking at the numbers, basically a newly hired probation officer can earn about $46,000 a year. And according to the numbers that were given to me, maybe $57,000, $58,000 after 11 years. Correction officers, NYPD officers, definitely making well over six figures at that point.
Absolutely.
And we did speak to the mayor. We asked him about probation officers, and you, the head of the union, are pretty upset. And what's his goal with working with the union? Here's what the mayor had to say.
We want to make sure that those men and women receive the level of respect that they deserve. And the Commissioner Holmes has a real ability of examining how do we bring up the morale in these agencies. And so I'm looking forward for her to come with some real recommendations to me and Deputy Mayor Banks.
Ms. Powell, your response to that as the president of the Probation Officers Union?
I'm looking forward to working with the mayor and our new Commissioner Holmes and getting this done, because we're way overdue. And it's having a very devastating effect on the morale and hiring.
On Tuesday, your union will be a part of a big rally at City Hall, Equal Pay Day, a big rally. A lot of women there. One of the issues you had mentioned in the past, and you have filed an EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity case against the city, saying that most of the people on the job, the officers, are women and women of color. What will you be calling for on Tuesday on the steps of City Hall?
We want to get our fair share. We want to get paid just like all the other law enforcement agencies that we work side by side with every day.
And in your message, finally, to the public, because once again, you are an important part of community service and public safety, checking on people who are on probation. What's your message to folks out there in the communities?
That probation officers, the work of a probation officer is challenging because we're the perfect example of what the scales of justice is. We have to strike the balance of keeping the community safe while working with others who've been convicted of a crime, helping them become law-abiding citizens.
All right, the president of the Probation Officers Union, Dalvanie Powell.